Segment 2, Nikud Achat, Nikud Aleph. Halalechet ata chafetz? Halalechet ata chafetz? A great way to get acquainted with someone is to find out what sort of activities they enjoy doing, and similarly to share with them what sort of activities you enjoy. This segment will enable you to do that in Hebrew. Toward the end of the segment, you'll find a list of activities. Select 2 that you enjoy, and then you'll be selecting 2 which you think a neighbor may enjoy. In order to respond to the questions, do you like this or that, you can use the evaluation emet if it is true, or sheker if it is not true. Here then is an inquiry that you can use to find out if a particular activity that you have selected is one that your neighbor actually does enjoy doing. Halalechet ata chafetz? Halalechet ata chafetz? Or if addressing a woman, Halalechet at chafetza? Halalechet at chafetza? As you can tell from the gloss on the left, this question would uncover whether or not your friend, your neighbor, likes to travel. Now, if your friend or neighbor does like to travel, then this is the response that you may hear. Emet. Lalechet ani chafetz. Emet. Lalechet ani chafetz. Or if your neighbor is a woman, Emet. Lalechet ani chafetza. Emet. Lalechet ani chafetza. If, on the other hand, you guessed incorrectly and proposed an activity that your neighbor does not enjoy doing, then expect to hear a response like this. Sheker. Lo lalechet ani chafetz. Sheker. Lo lalechet ani chafetz. Or if your friend is a woman, expect to hear this negative response. Sheker. Lo lalechet ani chafetza. Sheker. Lo lalechet ani chafetza. Please practice these model inquiries and responses, folding in a variety of activities so that when you come to class you'll be comfortable asking and responding so you can share about your own interests and learn about the interests of others. As you practiced the model inquiry and responses, I wonder if you noticed how the Hebrew sentence was put together. In particular, did you notice how early the actual inquired about activity was listed? In the inquiry, it comes immediately after the question word, the interrogative particle ha. The activity is lalechet, to travel, and it comes right directly after the question word, ha lalechet. And again, in the reply, we found that targeted activity, the item that was primarily asked about, appearing very early in both responses. Emet, lalechet ani chafetz. It appeared directly after the word emet. And in the negative response, sheker, lo lalechet ani chafetz. Again, the targeted activity, lalechet, appears very early. This is part of the flexibility of the Hebrew language which makes it unusually able to deliver focus or to draw attention to particular parts of the message that's being conveyed. This can be immensely valuable for deriving the sense of focus within the composition of a biblical writer. Here is a handful of activities. Select 2 that you enjoy doing, and then select 2 either similar or different ones which you suspect may characterize the interests of a friend or neighbor. Le'echol, le'echol. Ledaber, ledaber. Lehashlich, lehashlich. Limloch, limloch. Limtzo, limtso, lasum, lasum, lishkav, lishkav, latet, latet. In case you're wondering about parts of grammar, each one of these consists of a particular sort of infinitive preceded by the preposition le. If you wish to isolate the infinitive, simply remove the preposition le and its accompanying vowel. Thus, the simple infinitive for to eat would be echol. When expressing that eating is an activity that someone likes to do, Hebrew will precede the infinitive with the preposition le. The particular sort of infinitive which we find here is known as an infinitive construct. This simply means that it's found in close association with other words. You'll learn more about the infinitive construct and the alternative form of infinitive, known as the infinitive absolute, as your studies progress. This is a good time to point out that in Biblical Hebrew, the pronoun referring to one's own self, I, can take two forms, either ani or anochi. Ani and anochi. Please take time to read the comments that you find on the screen in order to become comfortable with these alternative forms of the first common singular pronoun, I. Next, let's consider words that are classed as being in pause or pausal forms. No doubt you've noticed that periodically a word will change its vocalization, or it will change which syllable receives the accent. Perhaps you've wondered why this takes place. There's a good explanation for it. It has to do with how accurately the Hebrew writing system matches how words are actually pronounced, particularly when they change their location in a phrase. For example, we were just talking about the word anochi as an alternative form of a pronoun. Yet sometimes you'll find it with the accent moving back towards the first part of the word, anochi. Here again the difference. Normally it's anochi, but sometimes it will be pronounced anochi. That was the case in the statement, Ra'ev anochi. As you read over this paragraph, you'll come to understand better how this change takes place. Let's focus on the Hebrew words into three bulleted segments. Under accent change, anochi over against anochi. Under vowel change, kesef over against kasef. Lechem over against lachem. Lecha in contrast to lach. In each of these, the first spelling and pronunciation represents the plain or the non-pausal form, while the second represents the pausal form. And finally, in the third bullet section, Hara'ev ata, as opposed to ata.